So, President Cyril Ramaphosa has removed or fired or axed Minister of Higher Education, Nobuhle Nkabane, for just being messy. In fact, nothing has been proven or disproven about her contact. She's been fired for being messy and it's making all of us look bad. There's criminal cases being opened against her. The GNU is not happy. Even the ANC guys who are chairing the committee, even the ANC guy who's chairing the committee is struggling to help her. He's covering for her nicely now that she's out, but he was struggling to cover for her because she was even giving him an attitude. But there's a lot to react to. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Emilio, Tobias, and this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the On the podcast.
Am I allowed to swear there?
Yeah, I know we said let's not blame the government.
It's just sad when we start then becoming indoctrinated on me.
Is the On the Contrary podcast with Emilio, Tobias. Thank you guys for joining us. We're back with another video, and it's a story we've touched on before. This one is tricky because you've now put Cyril in a situation or a position. Let's start with, I don't think Cyril was responding to any dilemma. I think DA right now, the way they're reacting to this, they're smart enough to know that this was not a reaction to that dilemma. In fact, this is all the actions of Sis Nobuhle. Yo man, this thing is tricky because as much as he's been removed as minister, I don't think it's the end of the road. Cyril might hope things are going to go away and they might do internal ANC things. I think she's part of a different faction to Cyril. I think she must be in the Gwede Mantashe circle because it does seem like, you'll remember initially, red flags were raised because Gwede Mantashe's son was appointed to be a chairperson of one of the boards one of the boards of an agency that reports to the department or belongs to the Department of Higher Education, which is a SETA board, Sector Educational Training Agency, something along those lines. And what they do is they fund like sectional programs, and they might like give money for companies to pay interns in certain industries. So if a company does not have money to bring in interns to give them work experience, these agencies might subsidize or pay for some of those interns. That's one of the things I know they've done, or the type of things that they do, and it's CETA, TITA, all those types of things. I don't know if they're similar or the same, but those things have boards because they disperse a lot of money. So Gwede Mantashe's son was appointed to one of those boards, and the parliament said, yo, we want to see what processes were followed. Let's see what processes were followed in appointing this guy, because everyone understands just because you're a minister's son doesn't mean you can't get a job in government. But the way you got the job must be fair and must not have been because of favors, must not have been because other people on this thing who are nominees don't have parents in high position. You must have gotten it fairly. So they said to her, yo, bro, let's just see the process. What she said is like, okay, fine, guys, I see you'll have a problem. We'll scrap the whole thing. We're like, no, don't scrap it. If you did nothing wrong, there's no reason to scrap it. Then, now we're getting to the bottom of, she thought that was going to work, which is kind of what Cyril is doing now by firing her. Yo, we never said fire the guy. We just said we need to double check because it looks bad. The optics of this thing looks bad. We need to double check how this guy was appointed. Boom. Then she starts. This is where I think it's confirmed that she's been lying about the fact that she didn't handpick this person. She appointed independent people away from her that would be able to advise her on the real thing. Wait, I actually lined up a video. I was supposed to play the video earlier of the breaking news. But no, backstory first. Then she was supposed to advise how this person was appointed and thought that scrapping the thing and letting the guy go would make people say, okay, sharp, let him go. But still you appointed him. And there was malfeasance. You did say there was a independent board and those people who you named came out and said, no, we were never part of this thing. The minister did it by herself. We were mentioned. I heard something about this, but I've never been to a meeting, so you can't say that I participated in the process, which is a new process which has never been done before. Cool. Now, all this noise has been made. DA has made dilemmas because they had Silko's Day, Deputy Minister got fired. DA went and made cases. They didn't make a case before all these things, but they went and make actual cases. EFF complained. EFF is actually the first ones to make real noise about it. Shout out to Sihlelonzi. He deserves the props. I saw him humble about taking credit for this thing and rather said, let's thank the EFF because it was the EFF position. Then last week, which I think was quite unfair, slightly unfair, to invite someone on a Mandela Day. Because in government, they take that thing very seriously. And you can't be seen to not attend a Mandela Day. So why you invite the minister on a Mandela Day? So that was the last straw for all the noise making and everything. The 18th of July, she was supposed to be in Parliament. They're sitting again today because she didn't show up on the 18th of July. But for me, that's one whole thing of her conduct that's been understandable of why she wouldn't appear. It's Mandela Day. It looks worse if you don't attend Mandela Day. But anyway, then this came through last night.
It appears President Cyril Ramaphosa this evening removing or has decided to get rid of, if you can phrase it in that way, of the Higher Education and Training Minister Nobuhle Nkabane after weeks of controversy surrounding the appointment of SETA board chairs. These are the sector education and training boards that ultimately had to be rescinded, and the minister being basically hauled over the coals in Parliament. The president confirming this evening in a statement that the deputy minister in the department, one of the deputy ministers in the department, Buti Manamela, now becomes Minister for Higher Education and Training. He will then be deputized, or at least in his former role, that will now be taken over by the former KwaZulu-Natal Premier, that is Nomusa Dube Ncube, who has been appointed here as Deputy Minister of Higher Education and Training. The president saying her long government leadership experience includes serving as MEC for Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs and Premier of the province of KwaZulu-Natal.
Cool, we get it. It's a bit too much. We need to take you out. You're making the block hot. You're making this thing uncomfortable for all of us. Previously, her attitude was the thing that made Cyril like step up and ask her to explain like what all these things was of telling people to go Google and go to the encyclopedia. So I don't know if Cyril is going to actually push for disciplinary action, whether it's on the ANC side or on the Parliament side. Because as much as they might think this is the end of the thing, you're still going to find she needs to answer because she did stuff. Like Beytele can still be called back for stuff that he did in the previous administration to come and explain next week. When you were in here, what were you doing? And you're still accountable to this stuff and you can still go to jail. That's the rough thing about this whole thing. Then, I don't know much about Buti Manamela, but the name is very familiar. And it seems he's been a deputy minister for the past 15, 16 years. So shout out to him for finally making the leap. At least now he knows he must do everything on point. I'll tell you this though. One dope thing that I saw the ministers speak about, I struggle to say that I don't think she's incompetent, but then it's incompetence that makes you get caught in lies. So it's funny now. The more competent you are, the more likely you are to get away with corruption. So I don't know if being caught doing corruption is a sign that you are also not competent to do the complicated tasks ahead of you. So if someone is good enough to get away with corruption, then they're good enough to do their job. Is that a fair thing to say? But anyway, so a dope thing in the space that I hope maybe Putina Manamela would carry on with this type of campaign. I was debating with someone about last week about communism and capitalism, and that no one really has an issue with communism itself. It's just the manner in which it needs to be implemented. That's the issue. There's no issue with, most people don't have issue with communism, but the people who have issues with it have issues with the fact that the only way to implement it is through dictatorship, through oppression, whatever. That was the debate we had. And I said the issue with capitalism and why it's a dog-eat-dog world type of thing. The media, and this might be from the 80s, this might be from the dominance of American pop culture, social media, all these things together has created this idea that all of us must be millionaires, all of us must strive to be millionaires. There's no point or there's no honor in being a hardworking guy that puts food on the table, grinds, works every day, has a happy family, being family orientated. All of those things have less value. And the campaign that I saw Nobuhle working on was to say that, like, yo man, these artisan fields, these welding type of stuff, sorry for the baby in the background, these things about welding, these things about carpentry, like hard labor, it's important to build a strong country. We can't all be stars. We can't all be millionaires. And because you're not a millionaire, doesn't mean that you are being used by billionaires. I think it's a very bad culture that all of us, and it's a South African thing as well, that I think we got from America and Western culture, is that everyone wants to ball, everyone wants to be a star, everyone wants to be a musician, a singer, a comedian, a content creator. All these things that make you rich quick, instead of just going for careers that will give you a sustainable income. You're living month to month, but you got your pension, you got all those things. No one strives for that anymore. The amount of people who are aiming to be a rapper and just make it like that compared to the amount of people who are actually going to make it. And by the time you find out you're not going to make it as a rapper or as a comedian, I'm talking about myself as well, it's too late to go and learn the skills of a welder. Oh, now you're too proud now to do those things. So she was working on a campaign, and I hope the Department of Higher Education, Department of Basic Education work on instilling values of hard work. People, there's no respect out there for being a hard worker, for being having work ethic, and myself included. No one strives to be known for work ethic. There's a few high-performing individuals who do. There's few small spaces, but the culture in general, we just reward opulence. We just praise opulence. And that's the issue with the whole thing. So that's a dope thing that I saw Nobuhle Nkabane work on. And I hope the next ministers just come in, and the new people that are there will just continue that type of culture shifting campaigns and ideas for the youth. I think that's where we need to go. But interesting. We'll see how many more ministers are out. Minister Mkunu's out temporarily, but we're going to see how that goes. We're going to see. This is now GNU getting there. And remember, we do 5-year term. We do elections every 4 years. So we have 4 years left. Let's see how the GNU evolves, how cabinet reshuffles happen. And there's also like a funny reaction from the political parties on Cyril's behavior. Mugiseni Ndlozi is ruffling feathers at the EFF for praising Cyril when he acts. And I think it's fair when you are not politically aligned, but I think also on the side what he's doing. As much as Tambo or Pambo, as much as they are accusing him of sucking up to the ANC and Thabo Mbeki Foundation because he wants to run it apparently, I think what he's doing is showing the types of stuff he would disagree with in the EFF, but then have to follow the line of march or follow the democratic centralism approach. Once you've disagreed and you've resolved the thing and decisions been taken, whatever you said before doesn't count anymore. We're going ahead what the masses are saying. So he's kind of giving us an idea of the types of stuff he was objecting to, or the kind of inputs he would give when he would be disagreeing with the EFF group who are too scared to disagree with Julius Malema also. So that's interesting responses, but let's see where the story goes. We hope to talk about it more. We hope nothing but the best for the Department of Higher Education. That's it from me. I'm Emilio Tobias, and this has been the On the Country podcast. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the On the Country podcast.
Am I allowed to swear there?
In Sweden, yes.
Yeah, I know we said let's not blame the government.
It's just sad when we start then becoming indoctrinated.
Your view on me.